Almost all American journalism is controlled by a few massive corporations. News Voice is a one-of-a-kind mobile app that tracks the bias and corporate interests that infuse the news stories we consume every day, and it's completely free to use. Go to newsvoice.com/Pakman to download it. As I've already told you, yesterday was the biggest single day decline in the stock market in terms of points in the history of the United States, the biggest percentage decline in 12 years, dating all the way back to 2008. Donald Trump had an absolute and total meltdown as it was happening. Donald Trump's actions are showing that he is afraid of what's going on with the stock market and the virus. He's not shaking hands with people. He thinks journalists on Air Force One are going to try to infect him, weaponizing the virus. And check out his Twitter meltdown as futures were crashing yesterday, as the stock market was imploding yesterday. First, before the stock market opened at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time, futures were collapsing. Futures are a leading indicator of what the stock market is expected to do during the day. Donald Trump tweeting starting very early in the morning, quote, "The Obama-Biden administration is the most corrupt administration in the history of our country." This is, of course, untrue compared to Trump's administration alone, but it's unrelated to what we at the time suspected was going to be the biggest single day stock market decline in history, and it was on a point by point basis. Then, still in the pre-market hours, we can tell the stock market's about to dive, and Trump starts tweeting about MSNBC, or as he calls it, MSDNC, quoting, saying, "Trump has outmastered the deep state. He's light years ahead of us. MSDNC. I disagree," says Trump. "We have a long way to go. There are still some very bad, sick people in our government, people who do not love our capital C country. In fact, they hate our country." The country is collapsing around him. We have a completely out of control medical situation that he is way in over his head in terms of being able to handle. And he's arguing with what a TV network says and calling people haters of the United States. Then he goes into the Bernie Sanders material, tweeting, quote, "Now the Democrats are trying to smear Bernie with Russia, Russia, Russia. They are driving him crazy. Older Americans are in grave danger." And this is what he's doing. And this is what he's saying while insisting everything is under control. Everything's fine. Nothing to see here. Then the stock market actually is imploding throughout the day. So quickly, in fact, that it triggered some fail-safe methods to halt trading in the middle of the day. And Donald Trump tweets, quote, "Crying Chuck Schumer said, 'You will pay the price for this. You won't know what hit you,'" referring to Chuck Schumer's comments about Supreme Court justices. That is far beyond simple rhetoric. That is a physical threat, or at least a threat that you better vote for us. Trouble ahead. We had like 5,000 or more new virus cases yesterday. Stocks declined so much so quickly that fail-safes are enacted. And Donald Trump tweets, "The fake news media and their partner, the Democrat Party, is doing everything within its semi-considerable power," it used to be greater, "to inflame the virus situation far beyond what the facts would warrant. Surgeon General, the risk is low to the average American." People are dying around him. He has now been around Congressman Matt Gaetz, who is in self-quarantine after coming into someone who was carrying the virus at CPAC. And Trump is late to the game. He's not doing enough. He doesn't understand it, or he pretends not to understand it. And all he cares about is media coverage of him. It is truly sick. It's bad. It's horribly embarrassing. And my real concern is that other countries will start to get this under control. China already has. I don't know exactly what's happening in Italy. We're hopeful that in the next 7 days, new cases will decline drastically in Italy now that they have gone into a absolutely over-the-top full lockdown. And by over-the-top, I mean, who would have assumed this would ever happen 3 months ago? But it seems to be what they have to do. It's not over the top in that sense. It seems appropriately calibrated to the nature of the outbreak there. I'm worried that it's just going to keep getting worse and worse in the United States while it will improve elsewhere. And we will become the problem. We will be the ones not allowed to travel to other countries. We will be the ones continuing to suffer the consequences, economic and health, of this, because Donald Trump is so underprepared and so in over his head. Again, sick, bad, horrible, embarrassing. I don't even think that those terms fully cover it. We are continuing to cover this and other stories from today's program on Instagram. Make sure you are following the David Pakman Show on Instagram at David Pakman Show. And a little levity, if you're feeling down because of everything that's going on, and I understand that, I held a baby and a picture of me holding a baby. It's like a loaf of bread or a football. I'm holding it. It's on my Instagram page at david.pakman. Follow me there. Quick break. Much more coming up.